Hey there, Alan here. As an RVer, we expect some challenges in our travels, and sometimes they're pretty significant challenges. But to face a $600,000 plus fine for crossing from Canada into the United States is not something that most RVers expect. And we're going to talk about what caused that or created that situation for one particular RVer and what it may mean to you and I. Let me start here. I'm Alan, and this is rvacrossamerica.net. The post is going to be at rvacrossamerica.net/Newmar, Newmar. You may have heard a little bit about the situation. I have my own unique take on it, and it's something that, well, you decide whether it's worth hearing. But I'll start off here. I'm in Anaconda, Montana as we speak. I've been traveling. It is October 12th. 1 week ago, on October 5, we had our first snow that actually stuck to the ground and whitened the ground here in Anaconda, more up in the hills and mountains surrounding here. And just on Friday, we had a beautiful week of Indian summer. On Friday, it was in the mid 70s. I was out biking. It's now in the mid 30s. It is Sunday morning, the 12th, and we have snow in the forecast for tonight. It'll probably whiten the ground again here tomorrow morning. I'm due to travel tomorrow morning over to Phillipsburg, and I'm a little bit concerned about crossing the pass, even though it's a relatively low pass. It's only at about 6,000 feet. But they are expecting 3 or 4 inches of snow up in that area, and Montana is not known for doing great snow removal, especially during October. So that's where we're at. So let me kind of get into this. By the way, while I think about it, it's getting colder. And if you're in an RV and you are planning on staying in that RV during the winter in cold weather, you need an RV skirt. I want you to go to rvcrossamerica.net/RV skirting. It will tell you about the skirt that I've chosen for my camper and have used for the last 8 years. My camper, by the way, turns 8 next week, and I'll be doing a walkthrough of it to show off what condition it's in after 8 years of full-time living. This is a company based in Boise, Idaho. They do custom skirt work. They do a great job. They stand behind what they do, and I've got some stories for you there over on rvacrossamerica.net/RV skirting. And I will tell you that if you're not close to Boise, they will come to you if you're close to Boise. But if you're not close to Boise, they will ship a skirt to you, and it's great quality material with great instructions on what to do and how to do it. So look into that if that's your need, if you need an RV skirt. So let's talk about this latest situation, the latest blow up in the RV industry. I wrote about the Grand Design disaster a few months ago and that class action lawsuit, which is ongoing. You can go to rvacrossamerica.net and dig up the mess with Grand Design with the class action suit. You can do a search for that or just scroll back a few posts, probably, I don't know, 10, 15 posts at this point. But this one has the potential to be a mess for a lot of motorhome owners. Motorhomes, just to give you a little bit of background, have two VINs. One VIN is for the chassis, one VIN is for the box that's built on top of the chassis. They're often, by the way, not the same year, not that this has anything to do with the situation, but just so you're aware that when you buy a motorhome, you are buying a vehicle which was built on a chassis which may have been bought a year or even 2 years before the box was built. So it's not unusual for the chassis to have a different model year than the actual motorhome. The title, which is usually for the box that's built, would be the title that you actually see. So, for example, it's not unusual for a 2026 motorhome to have a 2025 or even a 2024 chassis. Here's where we get to the meat of the situation. There was a Canadian couple, and this is all according to Liz Amazing. She interviewed these folks. She's a YouTuber and does a very good job doing what she does as a consumer advocate for RVers. She interviewed these folks. They tried crossing the American border apparently at least twice. And on the second or third pass across the border, Border Patrol and the American government decided they were going to fine them over $600,000 because their VIN for the chassis was not in compliance according to Border Patrol. What is compliance? Well, VINs have 17-digit figures and they have to be etched onto the frame somewhere. Further, there has to be a placard inside the motorhome, usually behind the captain's chair, the driver's chair, and it needs to be permanently affixed. And while I believe that Newmar, who is, by the way, a very good motorhome manufacturer for my concierge clients, they're one of the few motorhome manufacturers that is currently manufacturing units that I still recommend. Most of the others have been bought out by conglomerates that I don't recommend. And by the way, if you're interested in my concierge service, you can learn more about that at rvcrossamerica.net/BUYSELL, buy sell, or you can just call me up at 307-269-2546. I will be in Pacific time starting in about a week and a half. I'm in Mountain time right now, and I'll be in Pacific time for the rest of winter. So just so you know when you're calling me, what time it is where I am. Anyway, the issue is this. Newmar apparently was using a Spartan chassis. They use three different manufacturers' chassis depending on what series of Newmar camper you get. The Spartan chassis is regarded as a very good chassis. It's used on the King Air. It's used on the Dutch Star, I believe. And they were apparently etching in the last five digits of the VIN onto their chassis where it was visible. They did not etch in all 17. At least this is according to what's been reported. And they also used a sticker inside the camper rather than permanently affixing the 17-digit VIN. That, according to the Border Patrol, is not acceptable. And now there's going to be a giant mess between that owner and, frankly, all the other owners who probably are facing the same issues. I've talked to a couple of other Newmar owners colloquially that are in the same boat. Apparently, it's done just as a practice by Spartan when providing those chassis to Newmar. And as Newmar's practice is to put a sticker inside rather than permanently affixing it. Stickers can be peeled off. That's going to probably work its way through the courts. There's probably going to have to be some kind of recall. They're going to have to fix this. Hopefully, Newmar steps up to the plate. Initially, they were not real gracious about how things were handled. Liz Amazing could tell you about that. But that doesn't change my opinion on the quality of the product. They make a good product. Of course, obviously, for any of my concierge clients, we're going to have to be doubly circumspect to make sure that the chassis and the box are properly outfitted when it comes to VINs so that owners have no problem crossing the border and, of course, selling their camper when they go to sell it. Because I'm sure now the Border Patrol picked it up in one instance, it'll be picked up in others, and you certainly don't want to be on the receiving end of a $600,000 fine. So, here it is again, Sunday the 12th. The sun is peeking out at the moment, but again, there's rain and snow in the forecast for later today. There is snow in the forecast for tonight. And again, tomorrow is a travel day for me. I'll fill you in on more stuff. There's a lot of great photos over on the post. It's again at rvcrossamerica.net/Newmar. And you can see some of the photos of where I've been, including some of the snow from this past Sunday. And we're going to have to take it from there. And I'm going to leave you at this. But go to the post that'll fill you in on all the back information. And again, as always, leave a like, do a share, leave a comment. If you're seeing it on my blog at rvcrossamerica.net/Newmar, please scroll down and leave a comment down below. I love to read all the comments, and I certainly respond to all of them. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you